And I told them who shot the first shots. Now, by the time they get to the front of the building, see, I saw the two trailers come in. I was on the bottom floor, and I took the newspapers up to my room, threw them on the bed. I was going to lay down and read them. That's when I heard the helicopters. By the time they turned around to the front of the building and then turned to continue firing, then all hell broke loose there. When I went out into the corridor to leave, I left the 2nd of March with the tape that David made the 1st of March in the evening. When I walked out, there wasn't a window that had any glass in it. All the Venetian blinds were hanging on one side. Now, I know there was nobody at those windows because all the women lived in those rooms and they were on the floor over the children to protect them. And they said they didn't shoot until they saw somebody in a window. All I have heard from you and from all the things that has been said by our wonderful government is lies.
After years of denial, the FBI has finally admitted it used flammable devices that final day.
What was the reason for the fire?
When they saw we weren't going to give in, they had to get rid of us. They had to get rid of us. They had to cover up everything that had happened.
There's always new federal lies that we are forced to counter here.
Texas talk radio personality Alex Jones has been crying murder and cover-up from day one of the Waco horror.
These are thugs who wanted to engage in terrorism against the American people. And I say their terrorism has failed, and this horrendous lie is starting to unravel.
Come on into the sanctuary itself. There are essentially just pews on both sides of the center aisle.
While another investigation is underway into what really happened near Waco, a group of Austinites is organizing a new future for the Branch Davidian land. They want to build a church and memorial for those who died in the fire.
It's going to be basically right in exactly the same spot where one or more of the buildings burned down.
It's the same group of Austinites who helped build a house for a World War II veteran. Joe Campagna's home was about to be bulldozed by the city when volunteers stepped in.
After experiencing the Joe Campagna story and the media and others helping and the community coming together, I realized, hey, we can rebuild this for the people that died there, for the children that died there.
All right, Alex Jones says he received clearance now to build on the property from surviving Branch Davidian Clive Doyle. He says they need volunteers and materials and hope to start building sometime this weekend.
Topping tonight's news, a scene of mass destruction becomes a foundation for a new beginning. Good evening, I'm Kim Barnes.
And I'm Phil Scott. Austin volunteers are rebuilding a chapel on the site of the Branch Davidian compound near Waco. The compound burned down in 1993 after a 51-day standoff between Davidians and federal agents. Davidian leader David Koresh and about 80 followers died. KB24's Joel Thomas reports on the new plans for the property.
I've known the Branch Davidians a long time, and I think they're good, God-fearing people. I think they were demonized.
Raise your hand if you need to have instructions.
Most are galvanized by the thought the federal government murdered the Davidians. They videotape deputies who've come to hurry them along. They don't trust law enforcement anymore, or the media. With donated materials and labor,
take exit number 339.
They receive directions and head to ground zero.
We're going to rebuild it.
Waco. At the Davidian compound, the work begins even as the convoy pulls in.
We're just thankful to God that there are certain people in this country that still got a spirit of assistance and wanting to do, something to show their sympathy and their concern for what happened here, and we appreciate it.
And Fourth is investigating government tactics during the siege and whether the FBI covered up its use of incendiary tear gas grenades on Mount Carmel 6 years ago. While more information on the 51-day siege continues to surface, some Austinites packed up their tools today and headed north up I-35 towards Waco. Their mission is to build a church on the grounds of Mount Carmel. Lisa Hanna has the story.
There'll be 2 blue.
After just a week of planning, dozens of volunteers from across the state gathered at Mount Carmel to build a church. It's a project that was started by Austin radio talk show host Alex Jones.
We're going to build this church back. I've talked to surviving Branch Davidians, and they concur with my idea to have it a church and at the same time a memorial and a museum for what happened right here on this very ground in 1993.
It's called the Phoenix Project, a church that will rise from the ashes of the Branch Davidian compound.
I think it's important that we have a place to worship again after our church was destroyed.
Volunteers are doing all the work. Volunteers such as Austin contractor Mike Hansen.
We just think it's the right thing to do.
Jones says the 50 by 50-foot church is more than just a building. He says it's a symbol of what happened here more than 6 years ago. Jones calls it an attack on religious freedom, and others say they feel the same way.
Coming out here today has convinced me that some evil was done here 6 years ago.
There has been tremendous volunteer response to the church rebuilding effort, and one Davidian survivor says she at first doubted the volunteers would come.
When I looked and saw the people and how they're helping, I didn't think anybody had the guts to do it. But I'm finding out, and I know there are people outside that agree with us. They're just afraid to speak up.
Alex Jones, who has helped to lead this effort, says volunteers of all levels of experience have joined together to rebuild the church on Mount Carmel, and they will try to help heal the spot of this Waco siege.
Our main goal is to just try to bring some healing to what happened here. You know, the government should really fix what they destroyed here, but we don't see that happening.
Alex Jones also said that any volunteers are welcome. They will be building the base of the structure sometime this week. Kelly?
Well, Melissa, are the workers going to be out there every day building the new church?
Well, actually, Mr. Jones said that they will be mainly working on the weekends, getting most of the work done on Sundays, but there will be a few people out there working throughout the week. Back to
Just in case you don't remember, let me jog your memory. In a church they called the Waco compound, back in April '93, 17 little children, all so helpless and so small, died a senseless death of gas and flames. How many names can you recall? 17 little children. Don't it make you wonder why? 17 little children. How could they deserve to die? Maybe we should stop and ask ourselves, have we become so blind? Will 17 little children finally open up your mind? How did you sleep last night, Bill Clinton? Tell me, did you feel their pain? As 17 little children cried out and perished in the flames. Attorney General Janet Reno, I accept your offer to resign. How can you stand for law and order